The Earth had always been a peaceful place. For centuries, humans had looked to the stars, fascinated by the vastness of the universe, but never expecting it to touch them. Their technology had advanced, and humanity had sent out exploratory ships into the unknown. Yet they never thought that one day they would become the center of a galactic conflict. On a quiet evening, as the stars twinkled brightly above Earth, something changed. A strange signal was picked up by Earth's most advanced satellites. At first, it was dismissed as a glitch, just another anomaly in the endless expanse of space. But when the signal was repeated and then intensified, alarms were sounded in the deepest chambers of Earth's military command. Commander Sarah Reinhardt sat in her office when the call came. A young officer entered with wide eyes, holding a datapad in his hand. "Commander, you need to see this," he said, his voice trembling slightly. Sarah stood up, her expression serious. The officer handed her the pad. The signal was unlike anything they had ever encountered. It wasn't just a random noise or a piece of space debris. It was a structured, deliberate message from somewhere beyond their known universe. The message was cryptic, but it was clear. A fleet was on its way to Earth. Sarah's heart raced. She had been a part of Earth's military for over 2 decades, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. The Earth had always been safe. No one had dared to challenge humanity. But now, a threat loomed, and they had no idea who it was or what they wanted. She immediately called a meeting of the highest-ranking officials. As she entered the war room, her mind raced with possibilities. Who could be sending this signal? What did they want with Earth? And most importantly, how could humanity defend itself? General Adams, the head of Earth's military, was already there, along with the brightest minds in the scientific and military communities. The room was filled with tension as the lights flickered dimly. Everyone was silent as Sarah addressed them. "We've detected an incoming fleet. They are on a course directly toward Earth." The room was filled with guests. General Adams stood up, his face a mask of concentration. "How long do we have before they arrive?" Sarah looked at the data on the screen. "They'll be here in a matter of weeks. We don't have much time." An eerie silence filled the room. For years, Earth had been at peace. But now, that peace was being shattered. Everyone knew that Earth was not prepared for war. Their fleet, while advanced, was not built for a conflict on this scale. The ships were designed for exploration and defense against smaller threats, not to fight against a fully fledged galactic empire. "We need more information," Sarah said firmly, trying to calm the growing panic in the room. "What do we know about this fleet? What kind of ships are we facing?" One of the officers quickly typed into his console, pulling up an image of the unknown fleet. The screen displayed a series of massive ships, unlike anything Earth had ever seen. The ships were enormous, dark, and sleek, with sharp, menacing edges. Their technology seemed far beyond anything humans had ever developed. The ships were armed with weapons that could easily overpower Earth's defenses. The room fell into hushed murmurs. General Adams clenched his fists. "If these ships are coming for us, we need to prepare. We need to know everything about them." Sarah nodded. "Start gathering all available data on this fleet. We need to know what we're up against. And most importantly, we need a plan. A way to fight back." The officers immediately began to work, sending out scouts, analyzing every scrap of data they could gather. But no one knew who these invaders were or why they were coming to Earth. As the days passed, the tension only grew. Earth's military command scrambled to prepare for the unknown threat. But despite all their resources, there was still a growing sense of helplessness. How could Earth, a young and relatively peaceful species in the galaxy, face an enemy so powerful? Sarah couldn't shake the feeling of dread that settled deep in her chest. She had always believed in humanity's ability to survive. But this was different. The fleet coming toward Earth was unlike anything they had ever seen. What did they want from Earth? Was this the beginning of a war that would tear everything apart? She sat in her office late into the night, staring out the window. The stars seemed so peaceful, so distant, but now they felt like an uninviting void. Her thoughts were interrupted when her communication console lit up. It was a secure line from the command center. She immediately picked up. "Commander, we've got something." The voice on the other end said, "We've decrypted part of the message. It's a warning and a threat." Sarah's heart skipped a beat. "A threat? What does it say?" The voice paused, and then came the chilling words. "The message says, the Earth will fall. Prepare for destruction." A shiver ran down Sarah's spine. The unknown fleet was not just coming. They were coming to destroy Earth. And now, there was no more time for peace. Earth would have to fight, or face annihilation. As she stood up from her desk, Sarah made a silent vow. Whatever this enemy was, Earth would fight back. She would ensure humanity had a fighting chance, no matter the cost. Days passed in a blur. The reality of the situation set in. The message of doom still echoed in Commander Sarah Reinhardt's mind. The Earth will fall. Prepare for destruction. Those words haunted her, driving her to action. Earth wasn't ready for an intergalactic war, and the countdown to the alien fleet's arrival was steadily shrinking. The room where Sarah sat was filled with activity. The military personnel and scientists who had gathered in the command center were now frantically analyzing data and trying to devise a strategy. Sarah stood at the front of the room, her face hard, her eyes focused on the screen. The alien fleet was closing in. They had little more than 2 weeks before the ships arrived. Time was running out. General Adams, an imposing figure with years of experience in military strategy, walked up to Sarah. "We've got a problem," he said. "The data we've gathered on their ships is unsettling. We've never seen anything like them. Their energy weapons could wipe out our fleet before we even get a chance to engage." Sarah's mind raced. She knew their fleet wasn't strong enough to stand against the aliens' weapons, but humanity had one thing the aliens didn't expect: a deep, burning determination. Earth wasn't just going to surrender without a fight. "We need to build something stronger," Sarah said, her voice resolute. "We need a ship that can go toe-to-toe with their dreadnoughts, a weapon that will strike fear into them before they can even fire." General Adams looked at her, concern in his eyes. "We don't have the time, Sarah. The aliens are almost here. We can't build anything that powerful in time." Sarah clenched her fists. "We don't have a choice, General. We'll have to find a way. We need to bring our best minds together, and we need to build the most advanced warship humanity has ever seen." And so, an urgent operation began. The best engineers, scientists, and military officers from around the globe came together in an unprecedented effort. The goal was clear: build a warship that could turn the tide of this battle. Humanity's survival depended on it. The team worked day and night, pulling resources from every available source. They scoured Earth's military tech archives, revisiting every weapon and ship design ever created. As the hours ticked by, the pressure mounted. The looming shadow of the alien fleet was ever present. Earth's future was uncertain, but they couldn't afford to fail. Sarah personally oversaw the project. She stood beside the engineers, offering support, direction, and her unshakable resolve. The team knew that what they were building would be humanity's last hope. The design they came up with was revolutionary. It was based on the principles of Earth's most powerful ships, but it was far beyond anything humanity had ever dreamed of. They called it the Titan-class dreadnought. The Titan wasn't just another warship. It was a symbol of Earth's defiance. Armed with energy cannons powerful enough to rival the aliens' weapons and shield technology that could withstand direct hits from their laser beams, the Titan class was humanity's ultimate weapon. But the ship's true power wasn't in its weapons or shields. The Titan class was designed with one goal in mind: to destroy the invaders before they had a chance to fully invade. The Titan-class dreadnought had a special feature: the vortex cannon, a weapon that could unleash a devastating blast capable of tearing apart entire enemy fleets. As the days went by, the Titan class slowly began to take shape. The engineering teams worked tirelessly, racing against time. The ship's skeleton was finished, and now it was time to arm it. Earth's best scientists were tasked with fine-tuning the weapon systems and ensuring the ship would be operational in time for the coming battle. At the same time, Sarah continued to monitor the alien fleet. Their ships were still coming, and with every passing day, they seemed to grow closer. Their speed was unimaginable, and their technology seemed far superior, but they had no idea what was waiting for them on Earth. Sarah had her doubts, though. Could the Titan class really live up to its promises? Could it withstand the onslaught of the alien fleet's weapons? She couldn't afford to be uncertain. Not now. She needed to believe in the Titan class. The lives of billions depended on it. But even as the Titan class neared completion, the alien fleet was nearing Earth. Communications were intercepted, revealing that the invaders had made contact with Earth's most powerful enemy factions, and alliances had already been forged. The galaxy's worst had united, and Earth was about to face its toughest challenge yet. Sarah received a transmission from Earth's space station. The message was short but clear. "We have a situation. The fleet is coming. Prepare for the worst." As the message ended, Sarah knew the time had come. There was no more waiting. The Titan class was their best hope, and humanity would have to trust in it if they were to stand any chance of survival. The morning sun barely broke through the clouds as the Titan-class dreadnought slowly emerged from its hangar. The ship had been completed just in time. Its sleek, dark exterior reflected the early light, and beneath the surface, its weapon systems hummed with power. On the command deck, Commander Sarah Reinhardt stood, her eyes fixed on the view screen. The tension in the room was thick. They had built a ship capable of turning the tide of war. But the first test was always the hardest. "We are ready," General Adams said, standing beside her. His voice was steady, but even he couldn't hide the nervous energy that buzzed beneath the surface. "The alien fleet is within range. It's time to test the Titan class." Sarah nodded. There was no turning back now. The Titan-class dreadnought had been designed to be the spearhead of Earth's defense, and today it would either succeed or fail in the face of overwhelming odds. "Set course for the fleet," Sarah ordered. "We're going in." The crew moved quickly, executing the plan with practiced precision. The Titan class powered up its engines and blasted off, heading straight for the alien forces. Earth's remaining warships, though outmatched by the invaders' sheer numbers, followed behind, hoping the Titan class would tip the scales in their favor. As they approached the enemy fleet, Sarah could see the massive alien ships on the display. Their size was intimidating, dreadnoughts that were bristling with weapons. They looked like floating fortresses, each capable of wiping out entire planets. The alien fleet didn't know they were coming. They didn't expect Earth to strike back with anything more than desperation. "They won't know what hit them," Sarah muttered to herself as she stared at the massive ships filling the screen. The Titan class moved closer, the distance closing rapidly. The alien ships still hadn't noticed them. Earth's fleet, while not equipped for this kind of battle, had enough firepower to hold their ground. Barely. But it was the Titan class that would make the difference. "Prepare the vortex cannon," Sarah ordered, her eyes sharp. "Target their flagship." The vortex cannon was humanity's secret weapon, a massive energy cannon capable of tearing through even the toughest alien shields. It had been untested in real combat, and this would be the first true test. Could it live up to the promise? Could it break through the alien defenses? General Adams stood beside Sarah, his hands gripping the console. "We're in range, Commander. The flagship is locked." "Fire," Sarah ordered. The crew held their breath as the cannon powered up. Then, with a massive burst of energy, the vortex cannon fired. The light from the blast was blinding, and for a moment, Sarah couldn't see anything except a massive flash of white light. Seconds felt like hours. The shockwave from the explosion rippled through space. The alien fleet's flagship shuddered, then splintered as the vortex cannon's energy tore into its structure. The massive ship shields were overwhelmed, and the once imposing vessel exploded in a spectacular burst of fire and debris. Earth's fleet cheered. The first strike had been a success. But Sarah didn't smile. She knew this was only the beginning. The alien fleet had seen their flagship fall, and now they would be coming for revenge. The rest of the alien ships would be coming at full force, and the Titan class would need to hold its ground. This wasn't just a victory. It was the opening move in a battle for humanity's survival. "We've got their attention now," Sarah said grimly. "Prepare for a counterattack." As expected, the remaining alien ships shifted their focus, their weapons locking onto the Titan class and Earth's fleet. The enemy was now fully aware of what Earth was capable of, and they were enraged. The battle had only just begun, and Sarah knew the worst was yet to come. "Brace for impact," General Adams warned. The first round of alien fire came fast. Lasers streaked across space, slamming into the Titan class and its escorts. The ship's advanced shields held firm, but the force of the hits was enough to rattle the crew. The battle was intense, with flashes of light and the sound of cannon fire filling the void of space. But through it all, Sarah kept her focus. "Return fire," Sarah commanded. The Titan-class dreadnought unleashed its own volley of energy blasts. The cannons hummed with power as they tore through the alien ships. The battle was on, and the Titan class was proving its worth. But Sarah knew they couldn't keep this up forever. They had to win, and they had to win quickly. "We can't let up," Sarah said through gritted teeth. "This is Earth's moment. We fight to the end." But as the Titan class and the alien fleet clashed, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something else was coming. The aliens were holding something back, waiting for the right moment to strike. And Sarah had no idea what that moment would look like. The battle raged on, both sides refusing to give in. But one thing was certain: Earth was no longer just a helpless target. Humanity had shown that it could fight back, and the alien fleet had learned the hard way that underestimating Earth was a grave mistake. As Sarah looked out at the battlefield, she knew this fight was far from over. But the message had been sent. Earth was not to be underestimated. And with the Titan-class dreadnought leading the charge, humanity was ready for whatever the aliens had in store. The silence in the command deck was deafening. The explosion of the alien flagship had sent a shockwave through the enemy fleet, but it hadn't broken their resolve. If anything, it only enraged them further. The space around the Titan-class dreadnought was filled with the wreckage of destroyed alien ships, but more were coming. The alien fleet regrouped, and they were coming at full force now. Commander Sarah Reinhardt stood at the helm of the Titan class, her hands steady on the control console, despite the chaos unfolding outside. She could feel the tension in the air, even though the crew tried to maintain their focus. The dreadnought was shaking under the force of incoming fire, but it held firm. Humanity's new warship had survived its first true test, and now it was time for the real battle. "Report," Sarah demanded, her voice calm but firm. "Shields are holding at 85%, Commander," Lieutenant Jackson reported. "Hull integrity is still strong, but the enemy is hitting us with everything they have. We've taken some damage to the port side, but we're still in the fight." Sarah nodded. They had expected this. The aliens wouldn't back down after losing their flagship, and humanity had no illusions about the difficulty of what lay ahead. But she wasn't about to give up. Not now. Not when Earth had come so far. "Target their largest dreadnoughts," she ordered. "We need to cripple their main forces before they can regroup." The crew immediately went to work, their fingers flying across their consoles, locking onto the enemy ships. The Titan-class's weapons systems powered up, the energy humming through the massive warship. The massive cannons, still warm from their earlier blast, were ready to strike again. The enemy fleet moved in, their ships like sharks circling their prey. The Titan class was alone in the center of the battle, with the smaller Earth ships scattered around it. Despite being outnumbered, The Titan class had the advantage. Its weapons, its armor, and its vortex cannon. But Sarah knew that wasn't enough. The aliens were powerful, and they wouldn't be intimidated by a single weapon. "Fire the vortex cannon," Sarah ordered. The cannon powered up again, the energy building with an ominous hum. The ship's shields flickered as more alien fire slammed into them. The vibration in the command deck was intense, but Sarah's eyes were fixed on the target ahead, the largest of the alien dreadnoughts. The vortex cannon fired once more, unleashing a devastating blast that ripped through the enemy ship's defenses. The energy tore through the alien dreadnought's shields, punching through the hull and exploding its engines in a fiery burst. The ship began to break apart, its massive pieces tumbling into the void of space. A cheer went up across the command deck, but Sarah didn't let it distract her. They had destroyed one of the largest enemy ships, but there were more to come. The aliens had regrouped quickly, and they were relentless. Another volley of laser fire rained down on the Titan class, and this time the ship's shields flickered dangerously. The crew braced for the impact, but the shields held firm. Still, Sarah knew that the battle was far from won. The enemy had already shown they were capable of adapting quickly. The Titan class couldn't keep this up forever. "We need to break their formation," Sarah muttered. "Their coordination is too precise." "Commander," General Adams said, stepping up beside her, "I have an idea. We can deploy the new drone fighters we've been testing. They'll create a diversion and disrupt the enemy's targeting systems." Sarah looked at him, her brow furrowed. It was a risky move, but it might be their only option. "Do it." The drone fighters were humanity's newest innovation. Small, nimble, and equipped with energy disruptors, they were meant to confuse and mislead enemy ships. The problem was, they had never been tested in a real battle. Until now. The launch bay doors of the Titan class opened, and hundreds of sleek, black drones shot out into space. The small ships swarmed the alien fleet like a cloud of angry bees, darting in and out of enemy ship formations, launching energy pulses at the alien weapon systems. The result was immediate. Alien ships began to lose their lock-on targets, their weapon systems temporarily disrupted by the drone's electromagnetic pulses. "It's working," Lieutenant Jackson shouted. "Their firing solutions are breaking down. We have an opening." The drones, though small and vulnerable, were doing their job. The enemy fleet was beginning to scatter, their advanced targeting systems thrown into disarray. Sarah seized the opportunity. "Focus fire on their central command ship," Sarah ordered. Now. The Titan class aimed its weapons, and another blast from the vortex cannon tore through the space between the two fleets. This time, it hit the alien command ship directly, its shields disintegrating in an instant. The blast ripped through the ship's core, and in a brilliant explosion, the command ship was destroyed, sending shockwaves through the rest of the fleet. "We did it," General Adams exclaimed, his voice filled with excitement. But Sarah didn't allow herself to relax. Even as the alien ships began to retreat, she knew this victory was only temporary. The battle wasn't over. The alien fleet still had plenty of firepower left, and Earth's ships were battered from the fight. They couldn't afford to let their guard down. "We've won this round," Sarah said, her voice steely. But the war is far from over. And as the enemy ships turned and fled into the distance, Sarah knew they had proven one thing. Humanity wasn't going down without a fight. The Titan class had changed the tide of the battle, and it had sent a message across the stars. Earth was no longer weak, no longer defenseless. They would fight to the end, no matter what the cost. The battle had reached a critical juncture. The Titan-class dreadnought stood proudly at the heart of Earth's fleet, its hull battered but unbroken. The enemy, though severely weakened by the vortex cannon and the relentless assault of humanity's new drone fighters, wasn't ready to give up. They had retreated at first, but now, with their command ship destroyed, they were regrouping for one final, desperate attempt to crush humanity's hope. Sarah Reinhardt watched the star-filled horizon on the command deck, her eyes narrowed in determination. The enemy fleet was slowly repositioning, their ships forming tight formations, preparing for a coordinated final strike. She knew that this was it, the moment that would decide the fate of Earth and the future of the galaxy. The crew around her worked with laser focus, their fingers dancing across consoles, ready to unleash humanity's might once more. The air on the command deck was thick with tension, the only sounds being the whir of machines and the occasional crackling of static over the comms. "Commander, the alien fleet is charging again," Lieutenant Jackson reported, his voice tense. "It's as if they're making one final push to break through our defenses. We need to be ready for anything." Sarah nodded, her face grim. "I know. Hold the line. People. We've come this far. We're not letting them take Earth." As the alien fleet surged forward, Sarah's mind raced. Humanity had already taken heavy losses, but they had the Titan class, Earth's most powerful warship, at their side. It was the only thing that could turn the tide of this battle. But with so many enemy ships coming at them, it wouldn't be enough to rely solely on the Titan class's firepower. They needed a plan, something bold. "Prepare the vortex cannon," Sarah commanded. "But this time, we're going to need more than one shot. I want to overload the main power core. We're going to hit them with everything we have." The crew exchanged nervous glances, but no one hesitated. The Titan class was equipped with an arsenal of weapons, and the vortex cannon was its most powerful. Overloading the core would increase its power exponentially, but it was a risky move. The cannon would use up all the energy in the warship systems. If they failed, Earth would be left vulnerable. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. This wasn't just about survival anymore. This was about sending a message to the galaxy. Earth would fight, and it would win. "Fire when ready," Sarah said, her voice steady but full of resolve. The crew worked quickly, their hands flying over the control panels. The ship hummed with energy as the massive vortex cannon powered up, its core glowing brighter than ever before. The sound of the ship's engines vibrating through the deck filled the room. And the countdown began. 5 seconds until fire, Lieutenant Jackson announced. As the alien fleet approached, the Titan-class's massive cannons locked onto their targets. The enemy ships were closing in, and their weapons were already charging. It would be close. It would be a battle of attrition, where only the strongest would survive. 3 seconds. Sarah's pulse quickened. This was it, the moment that would either destroy humanity's last hope or mark the beginning of their victory. She locked eyes with General Adams, who stood beside her, his face filled with a quiet determination. "Now," Sarah shouted. In an instant, the Titan class unleashed the full power of the vortex cannon. A massive shockwave of energy blasted from the ship, tearing through space like a thunderstorm. The beam was so bright it illuminated the entire battlefield, sending shockwaves rippling through the enemy fleet. The alien ships, unprepared for the sheer force of the blast, began to disintegrate. Shields exploded, and massive hulls cracked apart as the energy tore through their vessels. The massive alien dreadnoughts were reduced to rubble in a matter of seconds. Sarah could barely believe her eyes. The first blast had been devastating, but the Titan class didn't stop there. The cannon fired again, and then again, each pulse of energy more powerful than the last. The remaining alien ships began to break apart, their formations shattered by the relentless force of humanity's most powerful weapon. But even as the alien fleet faltered, Sarah knew they weren't entirely out of danger. There were still remnants of the enemy forces left, and the battle wasn't over until the last ship was destroyed. "Continue firing," Sarah commanded. "Don't let up. We finish this now." The Titan-class's weapons roared to life once more, and the ship unleashed its fury on the remaining alien ships. The once formidable fleet was now in disarray, their ships scattering in every direction, desperate to escape the onslaught of humanity's wrath. The tide of the battle had shifted. Humanity's final stand was proving to be a triumph. As the alien ships flood into the depths of space, Sarah watched the destruction unfold, her heart pounding in her chest. They had done it. Earth had fought back and won. The silence that followed was deafening. The only sound was the quiet hum of the Titan-class's engines as they powered down. The crew, battered and bruised, exchanged looks of disbelief. They had done the impossible. The war was far from over, but humanity had proven one thing. They were not to be underestimated. Earth was no longer just a small, insignificant planet in the galaxy. It was a force to be reckoned with. The alien invaders had underestimated humanity's resolve, and now they would pay the price. As Sarah stood on the command deck, her mind racing with the implications of their victory, she knew this was only the beginning. Earth had shown its strength, but there would be more battles to come, and when those battles arrived, humanity would be ready. The quiet hum of the Titan-class dreadnought's engines filled the command deck, a stark contrast to the chaos that had erupted just moments ago. Earth's fleet had dealt a devastating blow to the alien invaders, but the cost of that victory had yet to be fully realized. Sarah Reinhardt stood at the head of the command deck, watching as the remnants of the enemy fleet scattered into the black abyss of space. "Commander," Lieutenant Jackson's voice broke the silence, his tone grave. "We've lost a third of our fleet. The Vortex cannon took a heavy toll on our power systems. The Titan class is still operational, but we're running low on energy." Sarah nodded, her face hardening. They had won, but at what cost? The alien fleet had been annihilated, but Earth's forces had sustained heavy losses. The warships that had once been symbols of Earth's might were now reduced to twisted hulks of metal, floating lifelessly in space. The battlefield was littered with debris, burned-out wrecks, shattered hulls, and debris fields from the brutal conflict. "How long can we hold on with the current power levels?" Sarah asked, her voice steady but with an underlying urgency. "We can last for a few more hours, but we need a repair station to fully restore our systems. We're not equipped for another fight without backup," Jackson replied. The tension in the air was palpable. Sarah knew that the battle for Earth wasn't over. The alien invaders might have been pushed back, but their defeat was only temporary. There would be more threats, more challenges, and Earth's fleet, though victorious, was far from invincible. "Alert all fleet commanders," Sarah ordered, her voice commanding. "We're going to need reinforcements. Send a distress signal to the nearest Allied sectors. Tell them we need immediate support." As Jackson relayed the orders, Sarah's mind raced. The war had taken a toll on everyone, her crew, her soldiers, and herself. But this victory, though sweet, was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and humanity was no longer just a fledgling species. Earth had proven its strength, but it had also proven to its enemies that they could be stopped, and that made them a target. "Commander," General Adams spoke up from across the room. "We've received a report from the outer sectors. The alien fleet wasn't acting alone. There are reports of reinforcements gathering at the edge of the galaxy." Sarah's heart sank. "Reinforcements?" "Yes," Adams continued. "It seems the alien coalition has allies, larger and more powerful than anything we've faced so far. Our victory might be short-lived." The words hung in the air like a dark cloud. Sarah felt the weight of the situation bear down on her shoulders. She had been hoping for a break, for a moment of peace, but it seemed that peace was a fleeting dream. The war for Earth was far from over. "Is there anything we can do to stop them?" Sarah asked, her voice tight with frustration. Adams shook his head. "Not unless we can get reinforcements of our own. We're going to need everything we've got, and more." The tension in the room was palpable. The victory they had fought so hard for seemed to slip further out of reach with every passing second. Humanity's fleet had just managed to fend off a massive alien assault, but now they were facing an even greater threat. An army of invaders that was larger, stronger, and better prepared than anything they had encountered before. Sarah ran a hand through her hair, frustration mounting within her. The battle was not over. It would never be over, as long as their enemies remained out there, lurking in the depths of space, waiting to strike. They could celebrate their victory for now, but Sarah knew that time was running out. They had no choice but to prepare for the next fight. "Lieutenant Jackson," Sarah said, her voice hardening with determination. "We've proven ourselves once today, but this is just the beginning. I want all crews on high alert. We'll be ready for the next wave, no matter what it is." Jackson nodded. "Yes, Commander. All hands on deck." As Sarah turned away from the command deck's windows, her mind focused on the bigger picture. She had a fleet to command, a planet to defend, and a galaxy full of enemies who would stop at nothing to see Earth destroyed. But Earth would not fall. Not today. Not ever. And if she had anything to say about it, the alien invaders would soon learn that humanity would not back down. The hum of the Titan-class dreadnought's engines was now a distant memory. The once mighty warship, a symbol of humanity's defiance against the overwhelming might of the alien invaders, was slowly drifting toward the edge of the solar system. The final victory had come at a great cost. The crew was exhausted, the fleet battered, and Sarah Reinhardt's heart weighed heavy with the knowledge that humanity had not yet won this war. "Commander, we've received a message from the Outer Rim." Lieutenant Jackson's voice cut through the silence of the command deck. "The reinforcements are here." The words brought a mix of relief and dread. Earth had sent out distress signals, hoping for help, but the reinforcements that had arrived were not what Sarah had hoped for. The fleet they had called upon was not a shining beacon of hope. It was another fleet just as desperate, just as battered, and just as determined to protect their own homes as humanity had been. "Is it enough?" Sarah asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Jackson hesitated. "It's a start, but they're in no shape to fight either. We have enough to put up a defense, but we'll need time to regroup, to repair, and to rearm." Sarah took a deep breath and walked to the window, staring out at the darkness of space. Earth was no longer the fragile species it once was. They had proven their strength, but the question remained: how long could they survive before the next wave of alien reinforcements arrived? Would they be ready in time? "How long until the enemy fleet reaches us?" she asked, not taking her eyes off the stars. "At least 24 hours, Jackson replied. "But they've been known to move faster than expected. If we're going to hold them off, we need to strike first." Sarah's mind raced as she thought through their options. She couldn't afford to wait. If humanity was to survive, they would need to take the offensive, even if it meant risking everything. The fleet could not afford to wait for reinforcements to be fully operational. They had to act now, while they still had the element of surprise. "Prepare all ships for a counterattack," Sarah ordered, her voice firm. "We'll make them regret ever stepping foot in our galaxy, and if we go down fighting." Jackson nodded, his face a mixture of determination and fatigue. "Understood, Commander." Sarah turned and faced her crew, the people who had fought beside her through every battle, every loss, every victory. They were the heart of humanity's resistance. They had proven themselves, and now they would prove that they were capable of achieving the impossible. "Listen up," she said, addressing her crew. "We've faced the impossible before, and we've won. We have one shot at this. We will hit them hard, and we will make sure they know that humanity is not a species to be underestimated. This is our home. We fight for Earth, for our families, and for our future." A resounding cheer erupted from the crew. They were tired, yes, but they were not defeated. The fire that had fueled them through the darkest of times still burned brightly. "Commander, we've just received a message from Earth's High Command." General Adams called out from the communications array. "They're authorizing a full-scale offensive. We've got all the support we need." The news came as a surprise, but it was the boost they needed. Earth wasn't about to back down. The combined forces of Earth's fleet and their new allies would make one last stand against the alien coalition. If they failed, it would mean the end of humanity. But if they succeeded— "Commander," Jackson said, stepping forward. The fleet is ready. We're about to jump into the unknown. Then let's show them what we're made of, Sarah replied, her voice filled with unshakable resolve. The ship's engines roared to life as the fleet prepared for the final assault. The battle ahead would be fierce and the outcome uncertain. But Sarah knew one thing for sure: Earth would never surrender. No matter the cost, humanity would fight to the very last breath. As the fleet jumped to hyperspace, heading directly into the heart of the alien coalition's forces, Sarah felt a deep sense of purpose. This was humanity's final chance to prove that they were more than just survivors. They were conquerors, defenders of their home, and unwilling to be erased from the stars. The war had reached its climax. The galaxy watched in silence as humanity prepared for the last stand. Would Earth's warriors emerge victorious, or would they be swallowed by the stars? Only time would tell, but one thing was certain: the fight for survival had only just begun.